that my hair is all wet, here's a tip that I'm going to share with you that I would not normally do in the hair salon, but if you're not a hairstylist, you wouldn't know this. So a tip to make cutting your own hair easier for short hair like this is to actually blow dry your hair in the style of how you'd normally wear it. So as we start to cut the hair, we can start to see how the haircut shapes and forms already styled the way you're going to wear it. Now the reason you're going to do this is you probably don't know this, especially if you're not a hairstylist. If you're a hairstylist, you probably already do know this. But wet hair shrinks from wet to dry. I should say hair shrinks from wet to dry. Meaning, if you cut your hair wet, it's going to shrink a little bit. Ask any girl who's ever cut their bangs wet. When it dried, their bangs shrunk up, right? And then, of course, they were very unhappy. The same thing happens to guys or anybody who has short hair. If we cut our hair wet at a certain length, thinking that we're doing the length that we want, when it dries, it's actually going to be a little bit shorter. So, to avoid making this mistake, having you accidentally cut your hair too short, you're going to blow dry your hair first. Again, I'd probably not do this in the salon just because I know better, but for you who may not know how to cut hair, you're doing this for the very first time, my recommendation is to blow dry your hair in the way that you would normally style your hair. So, on that note, let's blow dry our hair. Okay, so this is normally how I would style my hair, except it's really long. So let's dive into the haircut. Okay, so the very first thing we're gonna do now in the haircut is cut in our shortest length. So a good place to use as a guide when establishing your shortest length on where that shortest length will end and fade into the next length a little longer is basically where your hairline makes a natural transition. So your hairline comes down to a point and then goes in towards your ear. And right here, where it goes in towards your ear to the point and goes up, that's a natural transition in your hairline, which makes for a great guide to do a transition in your fade. So basically using this point where the hair comes to a point and then goes back in, that point is going to be my guide on where I'm going to cut everything underneath that, my shortest length. Now, when we get to the back of the head, the occipital bone, this bone that sticks out of every human head, is basically another great transition point, a natural transition point where you can take the hair at its shortest point, the shortest hair that we're going to cut, and basically cut it up to your occipital bone and then fade that out. So on that note, let's get started.
One.
All right, so now that I've established my shortest length using the guide of my hairline where it comes to a point on both sides and the occipital in the back, I'm gonna just clean up my neck. Now, you could use the clipper that I just had to take your neck pretty tight, but I've got a different type of clipper here. It's a peanut clipper that basically takes the hair even shorter, and I'm gonna do that just to kind of clean up my neck right here, and then we will carry on fading the shortest point up to here. So now we've cleaned up our neck, we've also established our shortest point. It's time to now blend the sides on up, and then of course for last we'll cut the top. So what I like to do basically is I will take the shortest guard that you can get for one of these clippers, and basically I'm going to go across my head like this first, which is going to get a lot of this long bulk out. Now, you can also go from underneath and scoop out. Neither way is right, neither way is wrong. It's whatever you prefer, right? There's no wrong answer on this particular one. But what I like to do is I like to go across and get the bulk out. Now, when I do this, here's what's very important on what you have to do with this. If you place the clipper flat against the head, then the clipper is going to cut your hair according to the shape of your head. So if your head is exceptionally round right here, then it's going to cut a round shape because it's using your head as the guide on the shape it's going to cut. So if you place the clipper flat against your head and slide it against your head, whatever shape head you have will create the shape haircut you're going to give you. So, because I don't want a round look right here, I want it square, I'm actually going to hold the clipper right here, where it's the shortest, against my head, but I'm actually going to pull it away a little bit so that it doesn't cut flat against the head. Now, and I'm not going to pull it away this far, I'm just kind of giving you an example, but I'm going to pull it away a little bit so that what happens is I have more of a square shape going on right here.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, now we're also going to do that on the back, but of course we have to blend this line in better. What I'm doing right now is just eliminating bulk so that I can actually see the outline, the haircut that I'm creating here. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to blend where our shortest point meets where we just cut the guard. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this lever, I'm going to push it all the way back to create the most length, and as we need to, we can work our way up to create less length. Okay, so you can see it's starting to blend much nicer. What we're going to do is now move the lever a little bit, one more notch closer. Okay, so what we've done now at this point is we've taken our shortest length right here, which we basically had no guard on this, and we blended it to where we had the smallest guard we had to go from this length to this length, and then now we've got this length up here on both sides that we got to get rid of. So we're going to put a little bit of a longer guard on and do the same thing that I did before, where we're just going to come across like that and get rid of the weight. Depending on how short this is, how long this is, you're going to decide what guard you're going to put here. So in this case, it's the 1/2 inch guard. And now we've got the 3/8 just working my way down. Alright, so now I'm basically putting on the 1/8 to just blend it even better. Alright, now we've cut the sides, and it's time to cut the top. So the top can be as flexible as you want. We can leave it longer, we can definitely cut it shorter. I like my hair a little bit long on top. I do like movement up here and just be able to have some hair to play with. So that's totally up to you on how short you want to take your hair up here. So I'm going to leave my hair a little bit longer on top. Basically, I'm just going to hold the hair through my fingers like this, and depending on how short you want to go, you'll just basically cut off. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and cut the top of my hair. Now, as I work my way towards the back of my head while still cutting the top, you can see that I'm pulling the hair at the front of my hairline backwards. The reason I'm doing that, they call this over-direction. I'm over-directing the hair at the front of my head towards the back. And the reason for that is because I want to leave the front of my hair longer. So the further back I pull the hair, the longer I leave it. Okay, as I mentioned before, I do like to keep a little bit of length up here on the top, just so I could play with, put some pomade into, style it different ways. If you cut it too short, obviously, and there's nothing wrong with that, but if you cut it too short, obviously there's a lot less you can do with the hair. I like to leave it a little bit longer, so I have some versatility on dressing it one way versus another way from day to day. Some days I might just have it full of texture, put some pomade into it. Other days I might have it kind of slicked over to the side, something like this. So by leaving a little length, it allows me to be able to play with the style, which is something that I prefer. So of course there's no right or wrong way, it's whatever you prefer. Before you put the scissors away, style it. Make sure it looks good the way you're going to wear it, and if it doesn't, just take it down a little bit shorter if it's too long, or make those final adjustments. All right, so I'm just going to do one last spin around now just to check the back and make sure that everything blends nicely and is clean. A lot of times when you're cutting your very own hair, you can leave a lot of hair right here on accident just because it's hard to reach, which makes your head look very bubbly right here. So you want to make sure you've got this nice head shape that blends with your occipital bone up to the top. So on that note, I think we're officially all done. So I want to thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and please give this video a thumbs up. And thank you so much for watching.